everyone, my name is John, and my topic is about media's influence. My main claim is media violence influences children, and for the purpose of this presentation, media will be any kind of entertainment outlet like TV, radio, video games, magazines, movies, music, etc., etc. So, I will try to prove this in 3 points. 1, cognitive development happens during early life. 2, adult teenage life is influenced by that early life development. And 3, various media ratings and such. So let's dive right into that first one, cognitive development in early life. Alright, so I think it's no surprise to everyone that when we're children, we are at our most influenceable. I see you all agree, thanks for that. Okay. You know, children have a very monkey see, monkey do attitude. They see something and then they do it, like I just said. So, and I'm pretty sure that all, if not most of us, have experienced this. You know, little Timmy sees Mo poke Curly in the eyes on Three Stooges and he hears the laugh tracks. What do you think? He thinks it's a good thing. So next time he's around his parents or his brothers, maybe his friend, what does he do? That's right, Angelica. He pokes him right in the eyes. And he laughs and laughs and laughs until the other kid cries, and then he has to go tell the teacher, and then that's when he gets disciplined. Or maybe we've all experienced this one. Dad says a bad word, and little Timmy says either he laughs and repeats it, or he goes up to Mom and says, "Mom, what does insert bad word mean?" Which leads me to my next little subpoint of this area, that children are super gullible, guys, which makes them very easy to manipulate. So what Mommy tells little Timmy is either a fake definition, which could result in him saying it more, like in what's that movie, Grown Ups, where the kid wants to get wasted on ice cream, because he told him it means to get ice cream. Or, if you're German, they tell the kid if they say it, then a monster will come out of their closet and eat them, so they won't say it again. It's a bad word. Alright, so that's basically focusing more on the influence of parents on their children, but parents usually know how to regulate themselves around their kids. Media doesn't. They're all at you all the time. So if a kid's media intake isn't regulated, then they're getting most of their knowledge and influence from TV and movies and music and video games, violent video games and such. And I have here a study that was published by the Psychological Bulletin. There's a lot of authors, I'm not going to say them all. The evidence strongly suggests that exposure to violent video games is a casual risk factor for increased aggression, increased aggressive behavior, aggressive cognition, and aggressive effect for the decreased empathy and prosocial behavior. So basically, the more you play violent video games, the more aggressive you become. Now, you're all thinking, like everyone thinks at the time, well, I play violent video games all the time, and I'm completely normal. That's because, hopefully, we're all basically normal, and all our parents had a good media regulation on us. But if you were just playing violent video games all the time, which I've seen kids who have been doing since they were little, then that affects you into your early life, which brings us to our next point, 2, adult teenage life influenced by early development in your life. I'm saying life a lot, sorry. Alright, so if the media intake is not regulated well in your child life, then it's going to have some bad effects. It's going to have bad effects in your adult teenage life. I have a thing here. Alright, okay. There's a study here done by Joanne Savage and Christina Yancey titled The Effects of Media, Violence, Exposure, and Criminal Aggression and Meta-Analysis. The mean correlations between exposure to television violence and aggression estimated will not be controversial. The vast majority of studies report a significant positive relationship between the two variables. This is to say that, I'm not saying that violent media makes someone violent, unless you're a child, of course, but I mean, talking in early adult life, you pretty much have all your personality, you know what you like, you know what you don't like. But, so violent media doesn't make one violent, but if one is violent, then they'll seek out violent media. Which isn't to say that if you listen to violent media, you're violent, but it is to say that if you're violent, you will seek out violent media, which I have a very good example for. This past weekend, I went to a Dance Gavin Dance concert. For those who don't know, it's like a screamo metal band, and there were other bands of the same genre. And the crowd was, excuse my vulgarity, but there's really no other way to properly describe this. The crowd was fucking insane. Alright? It was violent. It was a constant mosh pit the entire time. A violent mosh pit. People were lifting people up and throwing them. The crowd would open up, be a big circle, and people would be doing these violent swinging moves, just trying to hurt people. Now I am a basically normal person. I am not that violent. I didn't go in that circle. but I could see everyone around me with the piercings and everything else, how their media intake wasn't regulated as a child. Now, into my third point, various TV and movie ratings and stuff is a very straightforward and short one. If media did not influence children or people for that matter, why is there a need for ratings? If they had no effect whatsoever, then why do movies have ratings, PGG, PG-13, R? Why do video games have, E and M? Even books, some books are banned from the reading in schools. So if they truly had no effect, why would that be so? Thank you. Just think about it. Let's go home.
Yes, give me just 2 minutes, I'll try to keep it short and to the point.
Yeah. More names in there. I like yours. Or voting.
All right, the proposition's clearly stated. I think you lay out the contents pretty well, although the secondary points need to be stated a little bit more like claims, and I think the second and the third one weren't really stated like claims. They're just kind of topic areas, and we get a general idea of where you're going, but you want to make the inference clearer from the beginning. I thought you explained the idea on the first point pretty clearly. On the second point, you also got a pretty good explanation. Both of those points could use a little bit more information and proof. On the first point, you've got hypothetical examples that you're using to illustrate the idea, and that's okay. On the second, but like I said, kids aren't, they don't monkey see, monkey do everything that happens, so there's got to be some point at which they are influenced and some things on which they are not influenced, and I think what you need to do is show that television or media is more likely to have those kinds of influences than everyday kinds of behaviors like their dad saying the dirty word, for instance. On the second point, you actually start citing a couple of pieces of information to support your conclusion. I thought that was fine. I think you could use a little bit more information like that. It's very generic at this particular point, but it makes the point well. And I like the example that you have there about causality, in essence saying that people are drawn to it because they have those personalities in the first place. So there is a relationship to the media, but the question then becomes, why should we be worried about it? And it's almost contradictory on that third point. Look, if they are already screwed up because of who they are, bad kids or anything, maybe we don't need the ratings because they would choose whatever they want to see based on their personality in the first place. So all the pierced folks that you're talking about, they're probably heading down to see, what's that, Hostel 3, and that sort of thing. And then those who had their media limited to them as kids are probably going to go see the Lego movie. That kind of stuff. Is it really the media that's influencing them, or is it just that they are exposed to it in a particular way? Everything becomes dependent on that first point. I thought you did a pretty nice job talking to the audience. I think you could use a substitute for fucking insane. I think there's probably more appropriate language there.
You weren't there, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's plenty of euphemisms that would get it across. All right, thank you.